Welcome back to another episode of NFT Catcher Podcast. We'd like to remind everybody that nothing on the show is meant as financial advice, and to please do your own research. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Now the subject is NFTs.
They're known as non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
NFTs are exploding in popularity.
This is a technology that will forever change the way people interact.
So it is happening whether you understand it and like it or not.
This phenomenon is moving. The digital.
You have now joined Jenny from the blockchain and Michael Keene on the NFT Catcher Podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the NFT Catcher Podcast with me, Jenny from the blockchain, and my co-host, Michael Keene. Today's interview for our 101th, is that how you say it, 101th? No, 101st. 101st episode, we have Will Weinraub, CEO and co-founder of Cryptoys. Will, welcome to the show.
What's up, Jen? What's up, Mike? Thank you both for having me. Really appreciate it.
What is up? Yeah, we had here's our story on how we know each other. My twin sister, Steph Sudo, who we've had on the pod, she was on episode 49 as well as episode 50. She actually works for you. She works for Cryptoys. She's head of community. We had her on, like months ago. And actually a lot of our community got into Cryptoys after hearing that interview about it. And so it's nice to finally revisit Cryptoys. You guys have been doing a lot, building a lot, and I'm excited to hear everything that you guys are up to, and for our audience to get an update on what Cryptoys is up to, and for new people to figure out what Cryptoys is.
Yeah, so, to get into all of it. I'm really excited to be here, and shout out to Steph, your sister, because Steph is such a legend, and for many folks, she is the face of Cryptoys. Like, forget about me. Like, you know what I mean? Steph is out there every single day hustling. She's doing the live streams and such a great job. So big shout outs to Steph.
Shout out to Steph. Yes, I know. She does so much. We live together and I'm like, oh, she's in so many meetings all the time. I'm like, oh, can you stop being in meetings all the time?
Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, let's start with your Web3 journey. How did you first get into NFTs?
Sure. So I guess I've always been into tech. I got my first computer when I was like 8 years old. And, then a few years later, I got my 1,000 hours of America Online via CD-ROM in the mail. For folks that remember America Online, Jen, I don't know if you remember it well. And
she will not remember that.
Mike was like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I'm dialing up.
You would say, Mom, get off the phone. I'm trying to connect to the internet. And she'd be like, no, I'm on the phone. You connect later.
Right.
Yeah, those are the days.
Takes like 45 minutes to send an email.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of got started on the internet and started building websites on GeoCities, which was like a free hosting site back in the 90s, and just got into tech that way, and then started doing some odd jobs here and there, consulting for people on how to build websites and web presences. Went off to Florida State University. Came out of Florida State. I started my first venture-backed company that was called Live Ninja, where you would basically video chat with folks on different topics and pay them money for their expertise, like get advice on how to start a podcast or get advice on, how to start a business. So I did that. And I ran that company from 2012 to 2017. And I sold the company in 2017 to IDT Telecom and had a 3-year earnout with the acquiring company. So basically, when you sell your company, oftentimes in the contract, they'll want you to stay on for a certain period of time. It's just part of the deal. So I had a 3-year earnout with IDT. And I remember it was relates to my Web3 journey, how this all got started. This was like late 2017, early 2018, like shortly after the acquisition. And I subscribed to this famous venture capitalist, Fred Wilson. He's a legend in the VC space. He has a blog called avc.com. It was like very well regarded, still is very well regarded. And I was a subscriber. I would read all his blog posts. And one day he comes out with a blog post to say he's investing in a new company. The company's called Axiom Zen, and they're renaming to Dapper Labs. And they have this thing called CryptoKitties that's coming out. And don't laugh at me, but it's a digital cat. Yes, there you go. That's it.
I just got my physical CryptoKitty in the mail. I want a contest anyway. Please continue.
She was literally showing that off right before we got on.
Yeah, I was like, Michael, do you know what this is? And he was like, a Penelope? I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. How could you say that? It's obviously a CryptoKitty.
That is sick. I've never seen a physical.
Yeah, they're the not trying to brag, but they are exclusive. They don't sell them or anything. You can only win them through contests, or like they used to give them away if you like discovered a fancy. So anyway, I'm super proud of it.
Damn.
I know.
I'm jealous.
Will's about to make an offer. His wheels are turning.
Yeah,
I was like,
for
how much
real.
for that thing?
Yeah. What
Yo, I might have to DM you after the podcast.
It's not for sale.
she'll take another doodle. She'll take a doodle.
At a minimum, yes.
Yeah. So he talks about this thing called crypto kitties. He's like, don't laugh, but NFTs and digital collectibles are going to be a thing. And to me, digital collectibles like made a ton of sense because I grew up a comic book collector, a baseball card collector, got into video games, and for me, like, made perfect sense this idea of a digital collectible and provable scarcity. So I bought crypto kitties. That was like my foray into NFTs. I set up a MetaMask wallet, got my first crypto kitties. And then, I have 3 kids, and I had 2 at the time. We just recently had our third. And my kids were into these things called blind bags. They're basically, if you know, like LOL Surprise and Hatchimals, they're these toys that you buy for like $20-$30.
They're the worst things in the world.
There you go.
I have 2 5-year-old girls and a 6-year-old boy. The girls, rainbow corn and all that.
Yeah, rainbow corns, exactly.
I know all about it. Oh, God.
So that's what the toy industry turned into. And I looked it up basically as my kids were just spending like thousands of dollars of our money on this stuff. And it was just basically the entire toy industry has been now built on this concept of surprise packs. So, I learned about it, how much money they were making in the space, billions of dollars in revenue. And one day I'm working from home. This was like 2018. And my daughter screams from her playroom with excitement. And she's like, Dad, oh my God, I got the ultra rare. Finally, I got the ultra rare. Come quick. I got to show you. And I go to see what she's doing. She's holding up one of the toys that we bought. It's this gold glittery plastic thing. And she looks at it for like 10 seconds. And then as soon as she's like, the novelty wears off, she throws it in the bin with all the other ones just to collect dust. We have like a mountain of plastic. So if you have these things, they end up in the floor and the corner, basically.
They're good for that day. And then just
exactly.
For sure.
So as soon as she said the word ultra rare, I'm like, oh my goodness, here is this multi-billion-dollar segment of the toy industry that's predicated on collectability and scarcity. We can now do these digitally for the first time ever, thanks to this concept that Fred's talking about, this crypto kitty NFT thing that like I could do digital toys now because of this. So I went to my daughter and I said, sweetheart, what if I were to make you the digital version of these toys where you can collect them, chase after the rare ones like you're doing, but then when you get them, you could actually do things with them, play games with them, interact with them. Would that be something you'd be interested in? And she's like, oh my God, Dad, that'd be amazing. I'd love that. So I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, I got a few years left of my earn out. I'll do this little side project nights and weekends. So and a 9 to 5, of course, but nights and weekends I could do what I want. So nights and weekends, built a little passion project, me and my old co-founders, and then we brought some other folks onto the team. And from 2018 to 2020, nobody cared whatsoever about any of this. Like anytime we showed Cryptoys to people, they were like, okay, like wait a minute, you sold your previous company and now you're building what? A digital panda? And yeah, it was like one of those things where we look completely like stupid and insane, but we were building it for our kids. And then lo and behold, 2021, the Top Shot craze hits and NFTs became a thing into, VCs. They started to learn about it. And all of a sudden we got a lot of interest and we said, hey, we can make this now a real company. And that's how it all started, off into the races, but had to look stupid for a few years there before anything really happens. So I guess a broken clock is right twice a day.
Oh, shoot. A broken clock is right twice a day. Wow. That was good. Dang, that's crazy. First of all, I didn't even know that you guys like kind of started this whole idea in 2018 and you were just kind of, I guess, building in silence for 2 years.
Oh, for sure. Like, actually there was a thread you could pull up. You could actually see the old Cryptoys. They look like literally like they kind of looked like crypto kitties. They were like 2D and flat, but they were just different animals, not just cats. And we were like, yeah, we're going to innovate because it's like we could do it like crypto kitties, but other animals. Yes, that's the innovation. And they come out of a package and we're like, yeah, that'd be cool. And then then you can't, like, we're just idea guys. So like we just have all these ideas and it just metamorphosized. And it's like, what if you could interact with them? What if you could talk to them? What if you could play with them? What if you could play games with them? And then like the whole thing kind of evolves from there.
Wow. So what are these Cryptoys?
So the way to think about Cryptoys is we're building the world's premier digital toy company. So if you're to think of like a company like Hasbro, Mattel, MGA, these like old school legacy toy companies, right? And you were to start those companies from scratch today, and they were digital first toy companies and NFT native, what would that look like? And then how do you imagine the concept of play in a fully digital world? How do you play with digital toys? So that's what Cryptoys is. Cryptoys is a digital toy company, and we're reimagining the concept of play in this new world and building digital experiences through a toyetic lens. You'll hear that word a lot with Cryptoys. It has to feel toyetic. So even though it's digital, it has to feel like a toy. And when we were kids, we would imagine, we would talk to the toy, it would come to life. We would use our imagination for these things. And there are things that we would do in playhouses and play sets and whatnot. But then you can imagine, if you're not bounded by the laws of physics, what could you do, right? If you're not constricted to plastics and manufacturing, what could toys do in another level and take imagination to a whole new level? So that's kind of what Cryptoys is, a digital toy company and platform.
I love that. One of my favorite things ever from childhood was Webkins, which I always have just this fond memory of Webkins, which, I guess if you're around my age, if you're in your 20s, like maybe you remember playing Webkins too. I don't know, Michael, do you ever play Webkins? Probably not, right?
No, I know that the word sounds familiar. I have no idea what it is.
I missed Club
it.
Penguin.
Club Penguin was before it, right? Then it was Webkins before that was Club Penguin, and then there's lots of different ones.
I remember like Furbies.
Furbies were a thing.
Oh my
back
gosh,
in the day.
I remember Furbies too. I remember Furbies.
Yeah,
how old
that was
are you?
like I'm 42, 43. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. I graduated high school in 97. You went to Florida State. We're probably around the same age. I went to Penn State. So we're kind of rivals.
There you go.
You were the Bobby Bowden years. I was the Joe Paterno years.
Yeah.
Both of them kind of left in disgrace.
Legends, though. Legends.
What is that? Yeah, legends. Sure.
Yeah. Bobby Bowden, especially, for sure. I'm 30.
Says the Florida State guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm 37, so you and me had probably
okay. You're a fusion.
Culture childhoods. Yeah, you grew up right around the MOTU, the Masters of the Universe heyday, so we can.
100. Oh, He-Man was everything. I mean, oh man, Gray Skull and Skeletor. Yeah, no, that was crazy back then. Mid 80s, mid to late 80s, no doubt.
I'm a grown man, but I love just the toys and collectibles. As you can see, I have a freaking Winnie the Pooh cup that I'm drinking out of.
Yeah, you got some cool stuff around the office we can see for sure. And Andy mentioned the Metroid,
Turtles and stuff like that.
Mega Man, whatever that is.
These were my favorites growing up as a kid.
Oh yeah. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, absolutely.
Classic. Before we get a little further, I did want to mention, because we got to mention this early. We'll mention this a little later too, but there is a form you can fill out. We're going to put it in the show notes where you can actually win one of 2 Cryptoys cubes, and you'll get access. You can get early access to their MOTU private beta drop, which we're going to get into MOTU right now. So you guys are launching soon. You've done, I think, 1 closed beta test, which I tried to get in on, but I didn't. I don't know. I wasn't able to get a Cryptoys, but coming up very soon, November 9th, you have your MOTU drop. Tell us a bit about that and that partnership, and how you were able to form that partnership early on without even having, launched yet.
Yeah, I'm still asking myself similar questions. So we did an incredible partnership with Mattel, iconic toy company, one of the biggest toy companies in the world. And we were introduced to them by mutual connection. We met them early on, and it was just clear from the get-go that we shared very similar ideas and visions for what the future of play would look like. Not a digital or physical conversation, but digital and physical. How important the two worlds are and how they can coincide with each other. And they immediately recognized, to ourselves and to them as like, this is a perfect partnership. So we formed a deal with them, and not just a licensing deal where we could, help them build out their lines of toys digitally on the Cryptoys platform, but also they invested in the company too. So they're actual shareholders in the company. They invested in our Series A round. So it's not just a licensing deal. These are people that are now fully aligned with us and are actual shareholders and investors. So we partner with them. Incredibly exciting, incredibly just innovative people, an amazing team. And we started thinking about what would be the first line of Mattel IP that we should build Cryptoys for. And you look at, there's some incredible stuff. You know, they have Master Universe, they have Barbie, they have American Girl, Hot Wheels, the list goes on and on. But if you know the backstory of Cryptoys, Cryptoys, we have our own characters as well. And there's a backstory behind these characters. And the backstory is that Cryptoys are 8-bit video game characters from 1981 that get sucked into a wormhole and transported 40 years into the future. And they go from 8-bit pixelated game characters to fully 3D animated. They get dumped on the blockchain. And they have to learn about the nature of their new existence as NFTs. Like, what am I? Oh, you're an NFT. Well, what does that mean? That means there's only one of you, and each one is unique and special and can never be duplicated. So it's got this like Web3 educational underpinning to it. And aesthetically, it's like Stranger Things meets Pixar. So, really, really cool from a nostalgic standpoint. So again, if it takes place in 1981, we were thinking about what's great nostalgic IP that we could bring onto the platform. And I was looking up all the different IPs, and Masters of the Universe, coincidentally, what year was Masters of the Universe invented? 1981. And it launched as a launched as a physical toy in 1982. So this was like a perfect kind of match for us. And if you look at just the majority of people that are in Web3 and collectibles or digital collectors at the moment, they're people that are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? That have that nostalgic tie to older IP. So for us, and this is an IP that we grew up with, right? Mike, you said you grew up with He-Man and Skeletor and the whole crew. Like for us, we wanted to do something that really, was close to the heart and hit close to home. And, there's so many brands that are trying to ape into Web3 and like just launch something to launch something. And we wanted to build something for fans by fans because we are fans. So we wanted something that came from the heart, and we could do that with Masters of the Universe. So Masters of the Universe, it's our first licensed line of Cryptoys. It's coming out, the first wave. There's 3 waves. The first wave is coming out November 9th. And there are 4 characters with 7 different rarities, all in like a blind pack, really fun unboxing format that we produced. And yeah, we're really excited about it. So we just did a whole bunch of campaigning with them and doing some co-marketing initiatives. We just got off a Twitter space with Time Magazine. So really, really exciting. We can't wait for folks. Mike, if you're a fan of MOTU, I really want to hear what you think about this stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Justice, yeah. So yeah, that's basically what the line is, and we're really excited about it.
How much are the MOTU Cryptoys going to be?
So they're $39.99, like our Genesis units, and you could buy 5 at a time. If there is inventory left over, you can go back in line basically, and if you can get in, you can buy another 5. And every time you buy 5, we give you something called a golden ticket, which is also a perk and an NFT that allows you early access to future drops, because we're doing a lot of different IPs. Masters of the Universe obviously not going to be the last one, so this will be kind of a cool perk we give for folks that are max minting. So $39.99. And there's 40,000 for that line. There's 40,000 in total. So 10,000 per character, because we launched 4 characters per wave.
Are these the first ever He-Man official NFTs?
First, I believe so. Yes, cool. You gotta double check, but I believe so.
Yeah, that's important. I'm sure you're probably familiar with Vivi, since they're kind of a bit of a competitor. Yeah, I got into that. Andy and I both did year and a half ago at this point. They use a lot of that, like first appearance, people like that stuff. But yeah, the one thing I wanted to say, all 3 of us are Cryptoid Classic holders. If you didn't know that. Yeah. We got into the Discord early from learning about it from Steph, and we have those. I mean, I always say, like, that's so cool that you guys didn't charge anybody anything for a year. You gave those out for free. They ended up being worth a good amount of money. Was that surprising a little bit? Like, they got up to like a quarter ETH or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. They're still like I saw that they were worth $500, $600 at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a different kind of project, and it's not apples to apples when you look, compare it to like a 10,000 profile pic avatar project.
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah.
This is very much a gaming platform. So if you think of it in a way, we're kind of like at the intersection of like Funko Pop and Nintendo. A lot of people, when they see what we're building, they call us the NFT native Nintendo. And once you kind of see some of the stuff that we do, you'll understand kind of why some people make that comparison. So this took a long time to build. Relatively speaking, some games take 5 years to build and even more, but like, it took us, a year and a half to build all these things from scratch. This is Unity, real-time Unity development, 3D art animation, all from scratch. We're not using any preset packages or anything. We're building all the concept art, the rigging, the animation, the 3D texturing, the modeling, the game development, everything's done from scratch. So with that, we knew that there was a passionate community of folks like yourselves that were supporters of us early on, just from a conceptual standpoint. And we're like, we got to take care of these people and give them something for just being here early and being patient with us. So Cryptoy Classics were meant for use as just as a thank you. And we have some fun utility planned for all the classic holders. So we're grateful.
What's up? Yeah, no, I've always loved, I've never even thought of it. I sell everything I get. I never even thought of selling it. It's just, it's awesome. So cool. It's cool that it came for free. I really like the one I have. I know we all do. So that was really cool that came out. That's over a year ago, right?
Yes.
At this point. Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah.
This is going to be a big year. This will be a big year. I think we're going to do a bunch of drops here over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
And then 2023, I just had a meeting this morning with Alfonso, my chief experience officer and co-founder. And like, oh my God, 2023 is just nuts, So
I get my He-Man. Let's say I get my He-Man. Yeah. What's the first couple things that you think? I know it takes a while to roll everything out that you guys want to do, but like, what will I be able to do kind of immediately? I was on that live stream on YouTube with you and Steph, and you guys were running around like whatever you want to call it. What'd you call it? The block? That's right. Yep. So what's like, what are people going to be able to do if they buy a Cryptoid like right now? What should we expect?
So right now, the basic premise is that you're going to be able to buy the Cryptoid cubes. You can collect the cubes. You can unbox the cube. Once you unbox the cube, it comes in a blister pack, like an old school, like 1990s toy, that you would hang on display. Then you have a choice at that particular point. And first of all, the unboxing experience, we took a lot of time with the unboxing experience. So even though it's digital, it feels very fun and tactile. And then you could decide if you want to keep it in the blister pack once it's revealed. You know what rarity you got at that point. And you could decide, do I want to take it out and play with it, or do I want to kind of keep it mint and stock? And if you open it up, the toy comes to life. It animates, it jumps out at you with a custom animation per character. And then you could take it out. The first thing you do is take it out on this thing that we call the block, which is like a test drive area. So we wanted something that you could say, okay, this is different. It's not like a PFP where I just kind of have it sitting in my wallet. I can really interact with it, jump with it, run with it, do different things. And there's like little Easter eggs that we have on the block. And then we're releasing a number of mini games that are going to come in the next couple of months. So you could take your Cryptoy and play with it in different ways. So the first kind of people that are going to be buying these things are going to probably be buying them to collect them and build up their inventory in their backpack. And there's like, obviously you might want to have two of the same because you might want to keep one on ice and you might want to have the other one to open and play with. So we're excited about all the collector incentives and things like that we're building for pure collectors and completionists. But then the block, you can play with it on the block, and then the mini games. So some fun mini games that are coming shortly.
What kind of mini games? What's like an example?
So like the first one I'll share is like a Flappy Bird style game. You can kind of take your Cryptoid, pick which one, and then you kind of put them in like a UFO style game, and you can kind of go around and dodge different things and collect stuff. Yeah,
cool.
I'll show you guys some sneak previews. I'll show you some alpha after the
that's
recording.
Yeah, I wish sometimes I wish this podcast was video as well, even though I really don't, because I don't know. I'm like, I'd rather just be audio. But for this interview purpose, I'm like, it would be so nice to be able to visually show people, as we're talking, like, what we're talking about and stuff. But you guys can also check it out. If you go to cryptoys.com, their website looks super dope. Like, you guys did an amazing job on your website. Like, I just love it. And even your Twitter, Cryptoys_. on Twitter. Like, check out their Twitter. They're always coming out with really cool like teaser videos and everything that are just really well done. And you can tell you guys have put like a lot of time into this.
Yeah, well, the person you share a roof with had a lot to do with that. So go down the hall and thank her.
Thanks, Steph.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember when she first started working for Cryptoys, and it was, I mean, what was it? Was it April or May of 2021?
Yeah.
So yeah, like a year and a half ago. At the time, we were kind of like in between jobs, so we had just like what we were doing before, like we had just like stopped doing that, and then we were like kind of in limbo, and like, you know, we didn't have any money coming in, but also we needed to pay rent, and it was kind of a stressful time. And then we both got really into NBA Top Shot, and we started like creating content for Top Shot, and she was live streaming like every single day, like she was going in. Yeah, I remember like, I mean, I got a job first, Evaluate Market, and she was kind of like, you know, she's competitive, so she was kind of like a little bit irritated that I got like a job in the Web3 space first, and I could tell that, and I was like, oh shoot, like I hope she gets a job soon. And you know, she had a bunch of people, like companies reaching out, and then you guys reached out, and she took a meeting with you, I think, Will, and she was like, oh my gosh, like this is gonna be a big thing, like this is a really cool opportunity, and she was just really hyped about it. And yeah, I remember she said that you asked her, oh, should we hire you now or when we launch? Which is ironically, you haven't even launched yet. It's been pushed back so much. But she was like, hire me now, like right away. Yeah. And man, and the rest is history. And yeah, she's really just, she loves like working at Cryptoys. We talk about it all the time, and she's really grown a lot.
She's amazing.
You know, and learned a lot from you guys.
Do you know how we found Steph? Did she tell you the story?
I don't know. I don't know if
I'll tell you. And then also I think it's a funny story for your audience as well. So this was right in the middle of Top Shot mania, right? Like Top Shot was the thing, you know, in the NFT space. Everybody was trying to get pack drops. So I had a friend in the Miami tech space, and we had this like kind of group chat about Top Shot, and he would hit every pack drop. You know, anytime they would do a stress test, anytime they would do like those surprise drops or whatever, he would hit every time. And I would never hit. I would never get.
That's like Andy. Andy used to always hit and get the. Andy would get the LaMelo Ball special edition.
So I asked my buddy, I said, dude, what's the alpha? Like, how do you keep hitting these pack drops? How do you like know when every drop is happening? Like, what's the deal? And he was like reluctant to tell me. And then I was like, oh, tell me, what's the deal? Like, tell me, how do you keep getting these drops? He's like, all right, fine, I'll tell you. There's this Twitter account of this girl, Steph Pseudo. Follow her and set notifications for on, because every time there's a stress test or a pack drop, she seems to know about it first and tweets it out. And I was like, all right. So I follow Steph. I set notifications for on. So like she was a part of my life at that time when she didn't even know it. It was like my text, my push notifications was like Mom, Nicole, and Steph Pseudo on Twitter. It was just like,
that's amazing.
She got this stuff.
No, she was so obsessed. Like I was like, Steph, there's like barely anybody even liking your tweets. Like, why do you tweet out every single time there's something happening? Like, what are you doing? And she was just so obsessed. She was on, I mean, both of us were, but we were both on like NBA Top Shot 24/7, but she would like tweet it out every time something happened. And people thought she had inside info and stuff, but really she was just super fast with it.
She was just in the Discord, like getting that, insider info before anyone else and putting out publicly. So I was following her. And then like, I just saw how consistent she was and just like how dedicated she was. And as soon as, we had just raised our first bit of money, and it was just the 5 co-founders. That's all the whole team was, just the 5 co-founders. And I was like, you know what? Our first hire needs to be someone that could help us build a community. And as soon as I thought of like, who's the candidate? Who's the person? I only thought of her. She was the first person in my mind because she like lived in my push notifications, So I DM'd her on Twitter and we set up a Zoom call, and that was that. The rest was history. But yeah, that's how the whole connection was made.
Oh,
it just goes to show you, for folks out there trying to hustle, and you're putting out tweets, you're putting out content, might think that nobody's listening or watching, stuff like that can really lead you to cool opportunities. And we're grateful. We're so grateful for Steph. She's such an integral part of the team. She's like family at this point, you know?
That's so awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that story. That is a cool story. And so, wow, she was the first hire. And how many employees do you guys have now?
55.
55.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about
Wow.
It's crazy.
55 in like a year and a half. That's insane. What are some of the challenges that come with like scaling a team that fast?
Yeah, it is a challenge. There's no doubt about it. Because like as soon as you figure out how to be a CEO or a team leader for a group of 10 people, you're like, okay, I got this down. All of a sudden it's 15, and then all of a sudden it's 20, and all of a sudden it's 30. And you might think like, oh wow, it's exciting to grow a team that fast, and it is exciting, but it comes with a large set of challenges. Because imagine when you're 5 people, you can get on a Zoom call like this or have a meeting and be like, all right, we all on the same page. Engineering, you got that. Design, you got that. You know, artwork, you got here. I'll handle the marketing. We're good. Let's huddle back in 2 hours, right? Like everybody's kind of on the same page in an easy format. All of a sudden you have now 15, 20, 30 people. How do you deal with communication? Like an internal communication is something that I think is one of the hardest things to do right when you're scaling, because all of a sudden there's so many people there. There are people that have been there for 3 months. There are people that have been there for a year. There are people that just joined yesterday that are trying to get on board and understand what the company's doing, and like learning, like, you know, okay, how do we talk about the company, or how do I get onboarded if I'm a new artist or I'm a new engineer? How do I get a sense of company culture? How do I understand how to put time off? How do I understand how to request for money for a piece of software? There's all these things that come with it. So it's like the blocking and tackling, like the logistics of it, that's very much a challenge. So it's part of the gig. It's exciting to grow the team, but also now we're in the mode where we scaled so fast, we're actually taking a step back and being like, okay, now we got to put better processes in place. So when somebody joins the company, what's their first 30 days look like? And what's like the goals, their 30-day plan, your 60-day plan, your 90-day plan. So on day 90, you feel like you're, okay, I'm fully integrated now into the company. I've met all the key stakeholders. I know who's who. I know where to go. I know how to market the company. I know how to talk about the company at Thanksgiving dinner, you know? Like, believe it or not, that was like a thing. Like, you know, the first year people are like, my family's asking me what Cryptoys is. What should I tell them we do? So like we had to work on finding that, you know, that messaging and all that stuff. So it's exciting, but it comes with some challenges, but good challenges, the type of problems and challenges you want to have, you know?
Yeah, totally. And now finally all your hard work is coming to a big point. And you know, you have your MOTU launch coming up soon. I also want to get into your guys's like characters that you have. So you have the corgi, Alfie. Let me see if I can get all these right.
Yeah.
You have the panda, Juno, and you have oh shoot, what's the last one? The kitty, which is I don't think I know the kitty's name.
Comet.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you land on? I mean, why did you pick those animals? Why did you pick those names?
Oh, okay. So let's start with why we picked those 3 animals, right? So when we first started the company in 2018, the project, I would say, first started the project, it wasn't a company yet. We said, okay, what are the 3 characters? The 3 characters, first of all, the internet loves cats. So we're going to do a cat, number 1, right? So that was the first one.
So true.
Panda, I had just watched the Panda documentary from Disney, and I thought pandas are freaking adorable. And also that song Panda from Designer, like panda, panda, panda. You know? Exactly.
I got bras and Atlanta. Okay.
That's right. That's exactly it. It was in my head. So we did a panda. And then Alfonso, my co-founder, he had a corgi at the time, Ein, the corgi. So we did it to honor Ein, Alfonso's dog. So that's why we did those 3.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the names, Alfie, Alpha, it's kind of like, you know, just for Alpha.
Oh, like Alpha Leak. Oh, yeah. Alfie.
Alfie's got the Alpha. Alfie's got the Alpha. And then Comet, just kind of like, you know, like rocket ship is like always like, hey, like, you know, when things are going to rocket, when everything's going to take off. So like Comet, we like, plus it was like alliterative, Comet the cat, just easy to remember, Comet the cat. And then Juno's character is very it's kind of like if you ever familiar with like Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore, it's got that kind of like vibe. to it. It's got this kind of like, he's kind of like the mellow one in the group, and Juno we just felt was a great name for the panda. So we were voting on a few different ones. It was actually between Moon and Juno, because like in the space everybody's like when Moon, and we thought that would be fun, but we voted and Juno won over Moon, so ended up being Juno, and we like Juno. Juno's cool.
Juno is cute. Juno is a cute name. I love how you guys have really built out. I mean, when I look at everything Cryptoys has done, when I look at things and when I join your guys' live streams and stuff, I'm like, wow, they have really thought this through. Like, there is so much that you guys have really thought out. And I'm just like, how do you think of all of that? How do you create all that? Like, is there just a big team of people like just coming up with all these ideas, and then you have to execute the ideas? It's just it's a whole thing. And I'm just like, wow, blown away by how much you guys have already done, and what you're building. And also, I'm so excited for the Cryptoys to be like smart, like they're going to be like AI, right? Like you're going to be able to talk to them and stuff, and eventually down the road. And I'm super excited for when that happens.
Yeah, not a lot of people know that. Like that we have 2 people on the team that's dedicated 100% of their time to natural language processing and AI. So that's a big part of the platform. You're going to be able to talk to them in different ways. Like, folks don't realize, but this new generation, like my kids, for example, they grow up in a world where Amazon Alexas and Google Homes and Siris are everywhere. My son is 19 months old. His first word was adada, trying to activate Alexa. Adada.
Oh my gosh.
Because he hears us go, because my kids all the time, my older ones go, Alexa, what's the weather? Alexa, play. My daughter's obsessed with Harry Styles. So she's like, Alexa, play Harry Styles on Amazon Music. So my 19-month-old sees it. He tries to activate Alexa, but he can't say the word Alexa. So adada, adada. He looks at it. So it's just funny to think of like this new generation that's growing up with these AI assistants, these voice-based assistants. What if we could do another level of that, where we could make these things visual as well, and somebody you could take around with you? So we have some really cool stuff happening on NLP and AI. And then your question about the ideas and how it comes together, honestly, it's like just very iterative. Like we start with a formation and a foundation for what a digital toy is, like what would a digital toy look like, and how can you play with a digital toy. And then as you build that out foundationally and start kind of fanning out, you start to have more ideas that you can layer on top of that experience. Oh, it would be cool if then after you did this, you could do that. So for example, like the block, right? Let's take the block as an example. The block was a very iterative idea, because we're like, okay, so you unbox it out of the cube, then you have a blister pack. Then it'd be cool if you like a physical collector. That was like another idea. What if it was like a physical collector toy where you could actually decide, do I want to hang it up on my shelf and keep it mint, or if I want to take it out of the wrapping, like I could physically and play with it. So we're like, oh, that'll be a cool element. Let's do that as well. And then, okay, you took it out of the packaging. What's the first thing you could do with that out of the packaging? And then we're like, they should be able to test drive these things. Like take your toy for a spin. We're like, okay, how are we going to do that? Let's create a playground. That's what we called it. We called it the playground. And then Sherry, our CMO, and Steph and the rest of the team and the marketing, they were like, we're not calling it the playground, we're calling it the block, because it's blockchain. And I was like, okay, that's dope. So we ended up calling it the block. So everything's very iterative. You're just layering on different ideas. And the biggest challenge is there's so many ideas now. It's like picking what to do next in the right order, because there's just so much. You would just lose your mind, just trying to do everything, because you can't. You have limited resources.
Yeah, there's a lot to the experience too. And oh my gosh, I think it's so cool that you guys, you have the cubes first of all. So you wait in line, you buy a cube, and then you can decide to open it and see it in its packaging. You can actually see what it is, but it's in its packaging, which you can then keep it like that, or you can open it and then start playing with it. I'm like, wow, that's so cool that you're just building upon the experience. Like you're not just, oh, you buy it, then you have it. It's like, oh, there's layers to it. There's steps to it.
That's right.
Which, okay, this is a good time to tie back in. Will has generously donated 2 Cryptoys cubes to our listeners. So if you're listening to this there is a form in the show notes. All you have to do is enter your email. And then if you have a Cryptoys username, you say that too. But yeah, all you have to do is enter your email and you can win one of 2 Cryptoys cubes, and you can decide whether you want to open it, keep it in the package, whatever. And then also by filling out that form, you get exclusive access to you get early access to their MOTU private beta drop. So you guys are doing beta drops before the launch, or like when are the beta drops?
Everything's kind of beta at the moment. Remember Top Shot? I think Top Shot's still in beta. It's like, you gotta
I know. It's so crazy that there's so many.
It is, because this is hard. This is very hard stuff to build. And, when Gmail came out, like I remember when Gmail came out, it was like in beta for 3 years. Like when you're doing new things like this, oftentimes you have to do a lot of testing. So the beta drops are meant to give early access to folks that are early adopter type people that kind of understand, hey, we're refining it, we're making improvements as we go, but giving you access to the collection early. So we did one beta test drop, kind of like the equivalent of like an NBA Top Shot stress test. That was 400 units. We did that the other day. Really exciting. Sold out. Now we're going to do another one, hopefully in the coming week or two. And we're doing these I think it was 400 at first, then we'll do, some more inventory. We might do like, a few thousand after that, leading up to the MOTU drop. When MOTU is like the first public drop, so anybody can access the MOTU license drop, where right now with the Genesis line, we're really making sure our Cryptoid Classic holders get first priority access. Our early community, is able to buy those first and foremost, and then we'll slowly release those out in a more controlled fashion, because there's only 30,000 Genesis units, and once they're done, so we want to make sure that the early community can get their hands on those if they want them. So we're doing that a little more methodically. So that's when we say the beta drops, that's the beta drops.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Yeah, I'm hoping to get my hands on some Cryptoys. See if I'll be able to make it.
You have alpha in your own house, so like you have no excuse at this point. I
know. Steph always tells me, Jen, there's this happening right now. Come do this. I'm like, okay.
And Steph will probably be like, well, you need to follow me on Twitter and set notifications for on.
Set notifications. I'm not just gonna tell you, okay? Come on, Steph. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and when we recently went back home to Arizona. Our cousin was getting married, and our whole family kind of like came together, right? I mean, it was a wedding. And I have like nieces and nephews, and my sister was like, they're so chaotic. They're so crazy. They're always like running around doing stuff. But my sister was showing her on her computer the block and showing her like the Cryptoys, and they were so like calm and like interested in what was happening. I was like, wow, this is a rare moment. They're all quiet and just like paying attention. And yeah, they were just like really into the Cryptoys. And it was so funny because they make these little sound effects, like when you play with them on the block and you jump, they're like,
yep.
Like, like, I don't know. They make these little, And so the kids started making those noises, like just like jumping in real life and just like making those noises. It was so funny. But yeah, I'm like, oh man, I gotta get some Cryptoys for them.
That's the best. We started to get like some, we did only 400 the other day, but we're just starting to get some videos of people having their kids and filming their kids, do the unboxings and the kids' reactions to them. And that's the best. Like that stuff like makes our day when we see like a smile on a kid's face because when they see the Cryptoy for the first time. So that stuff is awesome. That's really why we do what we do.
Yeah. And these are for kids, but they're also for adults, right? Like,
believe it or not, they're technically right now they're not for kids just yet. You could share them with kids, but you have to be 18 or up to start. You buy to create a Cryptoys account. Why? Because we're creating a wallet. Effectively, it's a custodial wallet. We call it a backpack. But you're 18 or up to start. But we're rolling out very methodically in the next few months the idea to do not the idea, it's actually fleshed out. We're building it right now. Sub accounts. So like if you have Netflix, you'll be familiar with this concept. You have like the parent accounts, and then you can create a child account that can only access specific content on Netflix. So it's the same kind of thing. You guys will have your own master Cryptoys account, but let's say you want to create one for your niece, nephew, son, or daughter. You'll be able to then create a sub account under your master account that'll have like the ability to play with the toys, but maybe they can't sell a toy on the marketplace, right? Because maybe you have a Cryptoy that's worth a decent amount of money, and your 5-year-old said, "Daddy, I'm sorry, I wanted to."
No.
I wanted to get.
I
some
think
cash
about that with MetaMask all the time.
Yeah.
Like if my kids knew how to use my computer, they could come in and do whatever they want with like my whole collection, in 2 seconds. Like, yeah, pretty much like whatever it is. Or kids are going to be clicking bad links by mistake.
Right. No, for sure.
Malicious,
Oh, no.
I mean, that stuff is,
That's why we're super careful. And a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff we do is outside of like the fully decentralized, like wild west of like MetaMask and things like that, because there's so much scam and vulnerabilities out there. So everything's like really built on top of the Cryptoys platform. So it's safe and fun for the whole family, and something we take really, really seriously.
And speaking of which, we haven't said yet, but you guys chose the Flow blockchain as your main blockchain. What went into that? What are the advantages, disadvantages?
So first off, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Roham and the team at Dapper for what they built. Yep. Literally created the NFT standard. Literally, the term NFT came from Dapper Labs and the ERC standard. They made it with CryptoKitties. And you know what happened with CryptoKitties, and you guys remember that time. Remember, CryptoKitties brought down the Ethereum network. Clogged up the entire network. There was massive issues. There was gas fees like crazy. And that's why they built Flow, because they realized this CryptoKitties experiment would never scale to millions of users because of the infrastructure. So let's build a blockchain that could allow us to scale to millions and millions of people. So also, credit where credit's due, we've had 2 quote unquote bull runs in the NFT space since NFTs were invented. One was ushered in by CryptoKitties. The other was ushered in by NBA Top Shot. The things that both those projects have in common is the parent company, Dapper Labs. So Dapper Labs responsible for the 2 last bull runs that we had. They ushered those in. So credit where credit's due. So I always looked up to that team and that company. So when I was building out Cryptoys, I reached out to Roham, DM'd him on Twitter, and he said, "Yeah, let's definitely connect. We'd love to chat more." We jumped on a Zoom call. I showed him the project, the early prototypes, and he's like, "You have to build this on Flow." He's like, "This is why we built Flow, is for projects like yours." And if you look at like some of the things that we want to do or are doing with like, you have a Cryptoy, but then you have items and accessories. Like once you actually combine the items and accessories, it becomes a child asset of the parent asset. So like one NFT could actually hold 10 NFTs under it because of how you assemble it, and you could do that natively in Flow. They built it with that in mind because they knew people would build games on top of it and all these different experiences. So, as I talked with Roham, it was just clear at the time, especially, that it checked a lot of the boxes that we were looking for from a scalability standpoint. Also, we knew we were going to do a lot of licensing deals. Like if we want to be the digital toy company, we got to do licensing deals. And whether there is semblance of truth, I know there's a gray area here. Remember, a lot of brands are scared about blockchain because of their quote unquote environmental issues, according to them. And of course, there's been so much progress in this area, thanks to Ethereum's move to proof of stake and all these different things. But it was a real concern. And, Flow made it a point to build a very energy efficient blockchain. And they actually did their own reports. They got an independent auditor to do an audit on the Flow blockchain. And they found that that 1 mint on the Flow blockchain is the energy equivalent of like 3 Google searches. So it actually, you use more energy to do a Google search than it is to mint something on Flow blockchain. So for us, when we were doing some of these early licensing deals, that data, really, really helps because nobody can make the environmental argument to us like they were doing with Ethereum-based projects. And I'm a big believer that in 5 to 10 years from now, let's just call it the short to medium term future, the blockchain is not going to matter to mainstream consumers. So I believe that consumers are going to care about 3 things. Number 1, is the user experience phenomenal? First and foremost. 2, are the fees low? Because I don't want to pay exorbitant fees for something that makes no sense, right? And 3, do I have true ownership and liquidity of my asset? So like true liquidity means if I go to sell it, I can expect that it would sell. It doesn't sit there for 3 months before somebody buys it. If you achieve those 3 things, a great user experience, low fees, and true ownership and liquidity, the blockchain doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. And we get into this like Ethereum maxi mentality, Solana maxi, Flow maxi, all this stuff doesn't matter at the end of the day. You have to create great user experiences. Like that's why I really like what Reddit did with their stuff, right? Their digital collectibles. Yep. Don't call it an NFT. It's a digital collectible. Right. And what's great about what they did is a use case that's very native to the platform, avatars, because that's a big thing on Reddit, right? You wouldn't even know that it was an NFT. You logged in with your normal Reddit account. Okay, I want to purchase a cool avatar. I now create my vault, which is effectively the wallet, but it's not called a wallet. You create the vault, and you're trading natively on the platform with a credit card. And that's it. It's a use case very native to that user experience. And that's what you're going to see more of. The Starbucks announcement when they launched the Odyssey program, nobody's going to care about what blockchain that is. That Ethereum, Polygon, Flow, Solana, nobody cares. All they're going to want to know is, do they get their badges on Starbucks? Can I send it to Jenny? Can I send it to Mike? Do I have true ownership and composability with these things? And if they do, doesn't matter. It's a user experience native to that application and to that company. And for me, Flow checks the boxes there, because as much as I love Flow and I'll sing its praises on any podcast or Twitter space, whatever, because I love working with Dapper and the Flow blockchain, the majority of my users are not going to even know it exists. That it's built on Flow blockchain. They're going to just want to play with Cryptoys. And that's where I think the space needs to be.
And you probably saw just recently, Live Nation also chose Flow. So that probably felt pretty good.
Yeah, Ticketmaster's on Flow, all that stuff. So and that's another use case where Ticketmaster, Live Nation, they're not going to even know what Flow blockchain is. So
right, exactly.
On the back end for them. I think 10% of people might know, but other people are just like, this is mine. And I heard it's on the blockchain, meaning nobody could take it away from me. I could sell it or transfer it anytime. And that's all people are going to care about.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right and made a lot of really good points. And we've said a few times on this show, Ethereum really can't be the commercial blockchain. Like it's not gonna work for that. And there's Flow and Polygon, Mutable X, and those are the ones that people are using and are going to be using. Yeah. So that's really cool. And one second part to that, I think I heard on your it was really interesting on your live stream. Are you guys building a Flow to ETH bridge, the first ever? Is that what I heard?
It's a Polygon to Ethereum, Polygon to Flow bridge, and we're building it bi-directionally. And of course, if you're doing it on Polygon, you'll be able to do it. We'll do a Flow support, Ethereum support as well. So because you have the Cryptoid Classics on Polygon, you're going to want to bridge those over to Flow and into your backpack. So we're excited.
Okay. Oh, cool. So that you're building it for that, and also to go the other way as well. Is that what you said?
Bi-directional, exactly.
So if you want to put your Cryptoid on ETH and sell it over there, or whatever, that's exactly. Cool. Yep. Nice. Very cool. That must be a lot going into that.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah. It's interesting kind of constructing a bridge and building, like, what does it even mean to build a bridge, and how do you do something like that?
That's what I think. Like, it's so conceptual, because like, what do you like? Just take it off of one and put on the other? It doesn't seem that right.
You're burning and reminting effectively.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as we come to a close on this podcast, Michael, do you have any last minute questions? Anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
No, I'm really happy to have Will on. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the blockchain and what I heard you guys say about the bridge. So it was a pleasure to have you on after all this time, and congratulations on like launching and all this. Like, it's been a long time coming for you guys, so it's really cool to see. And another shout out to Steph. We're really happy to have her as a friend of the podcast, and got the alpha super early to get in and watch the journey. The price points are good, $40. It's a lot cheaper than most NFTs, and check it. People should check it out and see what they think.
Awesome.
Pseudo, that's right. Yeah, remember the name.
Turn on the note.
Oh. Yeah, back in the day. Do you remember that rap? Remember when we premiered it?
Of course I remember. Of course I remember.
Sleeping moments with my twin Jenny from the blockchain. Bounce back, top shot, got me back in the game. She's gonna be like, why did you rap that on me?
Nice.
Come on, I know the lyrics. That's right.
Yeah. Turn on your notifications for Steph. Turn on your notifications.
Song, if you could edit it in, that should take us out. That should be the outro of this episode.
That actually should. Andy's like, oh, great, thanks.
All right. Now he was like, great.
No, that definitely should. That definitely should.
We'll do that. He did the thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. Will, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you. and you're always such a fountain of knowledge. I love hearing you talk, Will. I will say you're a great conversationalist. You just know so much.
Good voice too. Will's got a nice deep voice like this. The room has good acoustics.
Too, right? Yeah. I see the live streams. Everyone's always like, "Dang, Will has a great voice."
I can do some B-roll for you guys. You're tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast with Mike and
Damn. Okay. All right. With that said, thank you all for listening. Steph Pseudo, take us out.
Steph Pseudo, let's go. Yeah, remember the name. Yeah, I'm bullish on myself. Yeah, I'm setting the pace. Used to own some crypto kitties. Yeah, back in the day. It was 2018. Damn, I lost my C phrase. Bounce back, top shot. Got me back in the game. Sweeping moments with my twin Jenny from the blockchain. With my family having fun, hosting ladies' night. NFTG, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the NFT Catcher podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new about the exciting world of NFTs. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you really love what you're hearing, please leave us a rating and review on your favorite platform. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news and insights from the NFT space, be sure to follow us on all the socials at NFT Catcher Pod. You can follow Jennifer at Jennifer_Pseudo and Michael at NFTicket. I'm your producer, Andy, and I'm at AJC254. Our theme song's by It's Just Los. We always appreciate your feedback and support, which helps us reach more people and bring you informative and engaging content about NFTs. We look forward to bringing you more great NFT content in future episodes. Thanks for listening. Peace.